Hey, Aiden Durham here, business and branding attorney with 180 Law Co. in Colorado. Welcome to All Up in Your Business and what I hope will be the first and last time I make a video about Elon Musk. So, if you've been paying attention recently, you've probably heard the big news that Elon Musk buys Twitter. Well, guess what? That's wrong. I mean, kind of wrong. Mostly wrong. He hasn't actually purchased anything, and Twitter hasn't actually sold anything. What did happen? Well, they entered into a contract contemplating this potential purchase. So what we are going to do today is look at that contract and discuss as a group what's actually going on here. Specifically, what kind of a purchase is this? Can Elon Musk or Twitter change their minds and pull out of this deal? What promises are being made? And more. Now, I'm not doing this because I'm particularly interested in Elon Musk or Twitter. I mean, I love Twitter, but I truly couldn't care less about this. No, you guys, this isn't about Twitter. It's not about Elon Musk. This is about contracts. I want to go through this contract so you all have a better idea of what to look for when you have a contract in front of you for your business. What do some of these things mean? How do we read through and review and evaluate this contract? Before we get into all of that, if this is your first time on my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell button so you get notified anytime I post a new episode. You can also check the description for a few links to additional information and resources. I also want to give a shout out and pretty much full credit to Rafi Malconian. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He did a superb breakdown on Twitter of this contract. And so I'm pretty much just turning his tweet into a video. I'll add a little bit more, but it's mostly just the stuff that he provided. I'm going to explain to you guys here. I'll link to his tweet and his account in the description if you want to read the full thing. It really is a great insight with his input into this transaction, this whole situation. So whenever I'm reviewing a contract for a client, the first thing I want to know is, what is this? What kind of a transaction are we dealing with here? This, my friends, is a merger transaction. We can see that the plan is for Elon Musk to create a company, the acquisition sub. Then that company will merge and become one with Twitter. It'll pay off all the Twitter shareholders. Then the acquisition sub will cease to exist as a separate entity. And we're basically left with Elon Musk owning Twitter. Why is Elon doing this? Well, I'm sure he has plenty of reasons. One of the main reasons that we know about is because he desires to make Twitter privately owned and to have, it's related to free speech and less oversight regulation, but whatever. He wants to privately own Twitter. It's currently publicly owned, publicly traded on the stock market. So anyone, you and me, we can purchase shares of Twitter on the stock market. Doing this merger transaction basically allows Twitter to terminate its status as a public company. It becomes privately owned and essentially gives all control to Elon Musk. And since it's no longer publicly owned, the company is going to be able to operate a bit more efficiently because it doesn't have that concern for its public stockholders or shareholders. So that's kind of the end game, the end goal here with this merger transaction. Okay, great. But what if, people change their mind? What once sounded like a great idea may no longer sound so great. And you know what? That's okay. So if Elon changes his mind and is like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore, can he get out of the deal? Sure he can. He'll just have to pay a measly $1 billion termination fee. That's Elon. What about Twitter? Does this mean they are bound, committed to selling to Elon Musk? What if somebody else wants to buy the company? Can they just have to shoo those people away? Kind of. Twitter is agreeing not to seek out any other deals, and that they'll stop any existing or ongoing current negotiations. But they can entertain unsolicited offers. So Twitter can't go out and seek better offers or seek better deals, but if someone comes up to them and just makes one, they can entertain it. And not only can they entertain it, they actually have to entertain it. I'll explain why in a couple of minutes, but they have to. Of course, though, there are kind of a bunch of rules and restrictions in the contract about how that deal is entertained and the process by which this thing would happen if there was another offer. So let's say Twitter does get another purchase offer, and it's a good one, better than Elon's. In fact, I think he's purchasing it for $44 billion. So let's say someone comes in and offers $44 billion and 1 cent or 2 cents. That might not be that significantly better, but it's a better deal. Well, basically, Twitter has to tell Elon Musk about it, and he'll have 4 days to match or beat that offer. Then maybe there might be some back and forth of competing offers. Who's gonna make the best deal here? If Elon Musk makes the best offer, then Twitter has to go with his offer. And if Twitter gets a better deal elsewhere and they decide to break this deal with Elon Musk, he's going to be left out in the cold because poor guy's only going to get a $1 billion termination fee in that instance. I'm kidding about that, obviously, but yeah, so either way, basically either party can terminate the deal in certain instances and they have to pay $1 billion to the other. What about situations where Elon Musk might be validated in pulling out of this deal? Will that exist? Absolutely. One situation would be if there is a material adverse effect, aka if something really bad happens to Twitter. Interestingly, that something bad doesn't include COVID. It doesn't include social media kind of becoming less popular or the decline of social media in general. It also doesn't include any backlash against Elon Musk. So like if he were to announce this, I am buying Twitter, and we all revolt and hate him as a result of it, he can't use that as now grounds to get out of this contract. He can also pull out of it if Twitter does something major like purchasing another company or entering into some really major substantial contract, or if they lie to him about liabilities or lawsuits that may be really damaging. Now, often in these kinds of transactions, the parties want to keep things kind of private. They don't want big announcements to be made to the public about what's going on. It could, affect the well-being of the company, the shareholders, the value, that kind of thing. And that's true in this case, but kind of with a little twist. So they can't make any random public announcements about this, except that Elon Musk can, get this, he can tweet about the deal as long as it's not insulting or speaking poorly of Twitter in the process. Another interesting thing I wanted to point out, that $1 billion termination fee that I talked about that Elon has to pay if he decides to get out of the deal? Well, Elon himself is actually promising to pay that himself, or at least a portion of it. So that way, if he pulls out of the deal, because he himself isn't entering into this contract, it's his company. And so if he pulls out of the deal, he can't be like, sorry, yeah, that company doesn't have any assets. I don't know where you're going to get that $1 billion from. He won't be able to do that. He himself will have to pay that termination fee. He's given a guarantee. So take this as a lesson. If you've watched my previous videos about getting business credit or loans for your business, getting a credit card, I talk about how it's very common, especially in the beginning of a business, to have to personally guarantee a lease or a loan, even if you're getting it for an LLC or a corporation. And that's because the other party entering into it wants to make sure they'll be able to collect their money one way or the other. If the company is broke or insolvent or doesn't have any money, they want to be able to collect it one way or the other. Even billionaires, serious literal billionaires, have to give personal guarantees sometimes. So next time you are asked for a personal guarantee, maybe don't take it So personally, it is sometimes just completely warranted in the situation. And even billionaires aren't immune from the personal guarantee. Finally, unsurprisingly, if there is a lawsuit related to this matter, it is going to be handled in Delaware at the Court of Chancery. This is unsurprising because it's just kind of standard for big major corporations. Does that mean all of us little regular businesses need to have all of our contracts be governed by Delaware law and handled in the Court of Chancery? No, it doesn't. For most of us, we still want to handle our legal matters locally in our local jurisdiction in our own state. Unless we're actually in Delaware, then it might be good. But in this case, Twitter and Elon have chosen Delaware. Okay, great. We have gone through the important bits of that contract. So given all of that, what do you think? Does this mean that Elon has purchased Twitter? No. We can see in the contract, he hasn't purchased anything. He's agreeing, they're agreeing to talk about. Basically, we're agreeing to discuss the possible purchase. He hasn't purchased anything. And really, this is still kind of in the very beginning stages. What's actually happened is that the board of directors of Twitter has approved the merger transaction. This approval, however, is subject to the approval of a lot of other folks, including the shareholders of Twitter and the government. And there are probably going to be a lot of other legal challenges along the way. And of course, in the meantime, there's still the issue of competing bids. Someone might outbid Elon Musk. We don't know. And now, under Delaware law, since Twitter's board of directors has approved this merger, they have to pursue the highest ticket price they can possibly find. It is now their duty, pretty much their sole duty to the shareholders now, is to get the highest price they can find. So it doesn't matter PR, if the media attention dealing with Elon Musk will be worth taking a lower purchase price. If a bid comes in for a better purchase price, Twitter's board of directors is required to seek out the best price they can find. So if Twitter gets an offer that is even pennies better than Elon's, they would most likely have a duty to accept it. So all in all, this deal is not even close to being finished, and Elon Musk does not own Twitter, except for whatever shares he might own. I don't know. He probably owns some stock of Twitter, but he himself does not privately own Twitter at this point. It's going to be at least 3 to 6 months, probably a bit longer than that, before we actually see this thing playing out and Twitter actually changing hands in terms of ownership. But like I said, this isn't about Elon Musk or Twitter. This is about contracts. So more importantly than all of that, I hope this is an opportunity for you to appreciate the value in carefully reviewing and reading your contracts, understanding what they say so you understand what you are agreeing to when you enter into them. Whether you are Elon Musk, Twitter, or just a average solo business owner, it is always best to have an attorney carefully review your contracts for you. I can guarantee Elon Musk did not put this contract together by copying and pasting stuff on the internet. You should be more like Elon Musk in that sense. Have lawyers helping you with your contracts, drafting, reviewing, negotiating these deals, so you can have someone who's looking out for your best interest and making sure you're not getting screwed in the process. If you learned a thing or two, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, give me a like, drop a comment if you want. Of course, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you get notified when I post any new videos. And of course, check the description for links to some additional information and resources. Thank you all so much for watching. I am Aiden Durham, and I will see you next time.